Stocks, crypto, real estate. A lot of new investors are conflicted with the idea of where to start investing depending on their financial goals. Some people want to like short-term goals where they just get interest for their investment, while some people want long-term goals and they don't know where in particular to start investing. If they should start with stocks, real estate, or crypto. If you're in these shoes, you've come across one of the best videos you're going to come across today, because I'm going to be breaking down the pros and cons of each of these kind of investments to enable you make good financial decision based on your financial goal or based on what you have in mind. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to this channel, we discuss finances, business, investment ideas. So if you're interested in this kind of videos, subscribe to this channel for videos like that. So the next big thing, stocks. One thing that baffles me about a lot of people is that we had lots of companies selling stocks last year, from banks to health techs to agri-techs. Most people were selling their stocks, and some people did not even buy even 1%, even one stock or 100 for themselves or for them children. We are not talking about early gains. This is something we're talking about long-term gains, because in the next 20 years most of these companies are still going to be in existence, even though maybe their names might have changed, to evolve with the changing times, but they are still going to be in existence, and you didn't think to get even one for yourself or for your future generation, and maybe you're looking at the immediate gain instead of long-term values. So I don't know why that is, but maybe because you really don't understand the concept of stocks. So I'm going to breaking down the pros and cons of stocks in order to help you make better financial decisions. So stocks basically is having an ownership, a little ownership or a little stake in a company. So depending on the stocks you purchase from that company, if you buy a smaller amount or a larger amount, that defines your ownership structure in that company. And it's very easy to get started in stocks, just as we saw a lot of big financial institutions selling their stocks last year. You can start with as little as any amount you want to start. You can start with as little as 5,000 by purchasing on platforms, on apps, or waiting for companies to enlist them out. You can start with as little as that. One of the advantages of maybe investing in stocks is that they are very easy to enter. There's low entry barrier. You can easily purchase stocks of a company from any platform. We have platforms like True, Bamboo, RiseBase, where you can purchase stocks of a company. I personally use liquidity. If you decide, let's say if you buy stocks today, it's very easy to sell. If you decide that, oh, tomorrow or next week I don't want it anymore, I feel like this company is not the best for my long-term investment, let me sell this quickly and buy up another one. It's very easy to sell depending on the platform you buy. That same platform you buy will give you access to sell. So if you buy today and you feel like you want to sell tomorrow, it's very possible and it's doable. Then you can earn dividends from them. That's long-term investors. Let's say you buy and you want to leave it for over some years, you can be earning monthly from buying such stocks. So based on your financial decision, you choose what's best for you to invest and the kind of company you want to buy their stocks. And then one of the cons of investing in stock is that the market is volatile. Let's say you might see like, okay, this company is will do well in the next 5 years, or is doing well, or let's say short term, this company is going to do well by next month, and you buy, and maybe there's a bad news that come out of the company, and then the stock start dipping. Instead of your interest, maybe instead of your money to increase, it maybe diminishes, and it might even diminish to like zero depending on how much you invest. So the market is volatile. So depending, and sometimes you buy maybe a stock of a company and you're hoping that in the next 5 years or 10 years it will be huge. Like you make so much from it. I mean, because of inflation, yes, it should have ordinarily increased, but the value of that money is now next to nothing. So that's one of the cons of actually investing in stocks. And before investing in stocks, you require market knowledge and research. You don't just hear of a company and be like, okay, you have to actually research on that company, see if that company has the potential of its value increasing or its value dropping. If there's any news that can come out that the market of that company will boom or depreciate in value, so you have to research. You don't just see the company and just maybe buy. Yeah, for instance, it's just like buying stock of a newspaper company in 2025 when you know that most news are published on the internet, and the number of people that read newspaper publication is actually diminishing right now. Also, you need to know how to control your emotions in terms of stock, because emotions can lead to panic selling. Let's say, okay, there's a news and the stocks are increasing, and let's say you sell before it's actually time to sell. It has lessened the interest you're supposed to gain on that. The next is real estate. I'm going to be discussing real estate based on the Nigerian market because that's where I am very conversant with. That's what I'm very conversant with. So based on the Nigerian market, real estate does well in two aspects: land banking or short lets. Short lets, the market is booming right now in real estate because we have lots of people coming into the country, even people from Nigeria or outside Nigeria. And what's the first thing they look at? They look at staying at short lets, service short lets. So some people live in a duplex and maybe you're already using one room out of it and you're doing nothing to the rest. Shortlet is the answer for you. This video in particular is not actually to discuss in depth on shortlet. So if you want to find more about shortlet, you can look for videos on shortlet, or you can basically just research it. So, or you can invest in land banking where you buy a land and then you maybe leave it for a number of years before selling it. Some people just buy it and leave it, and their children, maybe they pass it over to their children and the next generation, which in turn sells it. So real estate is for mostly for long-term investments, or in terms of land banking, or short-term in terms of shortlets. Shortlets makes lots of money for its owners. Like you see some people making, maybe you have a shortlet and they're charging 250k, 300k, especially in a service for each stay. So you can make you can invest in these two places. And short is not just when you have the car or when you have a building. Even when you lease an apartment for a landlord, you can have an agreement with your landlord. Maybe you want to use that apartment for short. That can be acceptable. So looking at the pros now of investing into real estate. The pros is like long-term capitalization. That's in terms of land banking, steady cash flow in terms of short lets, and then you have intangible assets in terms of land banking also. So it depends on what you're looking forward to in your investment, on what you should do. And then one of the cons of this is that it requires a huge capital. That's in terms of land banking. You cannot purchase the land without huge capital in Nigeria. Um, Huge is relative. There are some areas where you can purchase relatively cheaper land. Do you understand? Just depending on the sector or the area, you can look at it. And when I'm talking of land banking, you mustn't go to like big places like Ikoyi, Lagos, or somewhere. You can go to places like Delta, purchase a land. It can be an agricultural land. You can go to places like Enugu, or like they are cheaper. There are some areas that have a cheaper land, so you can purchase land there and then maybe fence it just to mark your ownership and leave it for a certain number of years. If you want to sell it or if you want to pass it to the next generation, that's also a good thing. One of the cons is also it's less liquid. For instance, if you are banking land and you want to sell it, some lands take within 6 months, 1 year to sell. You don't just, it's not easy to flip land. It's less if you need cash immediately and you want to sell the land today, except you want to sell it at a loss before you would be able to sell it easily. But if you want to make maximum return for it, you need to hold on to that land for some time before you will be able to sell it. And then it's also at a risk of fraud because there's always court cases of around land. Sometimes you buy from the wrong seller, or like fraudulent cases relating to land. So whenever you're trying to purchase land, you have to do your own research and your own investigation before purchasing from that. Or better still, you go through a bank to purchase properties. So crypto is basically high risk, high reward, but the market is extremely volatile. The market is extremely volatile. So if you're not used to the market, or you really don't know much about crypto, it's very advisable not to trade yourself, and maybe trade through a trader, someone that is going to help you trade and give you returns on your investments. One of the pros of real estate is that it has huge capital returns. If you know what you're doing, or if the person trading for you knows what he or she is doing, it's a 24/7 market. You can always trade day in, day out. It's very liquid, easy to sell. You can sell at any time, you can buy at any time. Entry is very, very easy. One of the cons of real estate is regulation risks. It's not allowed in some countries, or like it's prohibited in some countries, or you can't trade directly in some countries. So it's limited to certain areas or certain geographical locations. And then there are a lot of scams involving crypto, you get. So if you're trading into, if you're like looking to go into crypto, you have to be extremely careful and making sure you buy and sell from the right source and to the right source. So looking at all these options listed above, I hope you've been able to decide which of these is best for you in terms of your capital, your risk tolerance, and then the level of liquidity you desire. My recommendation to you is to start small. No matter which field you decide to invest in, you start small and then you do your own personal investigation, make your research before deciding which of these to invest in. If you've watched this video to the end, I hope you learned something for this video. Subscribe to this channel for videos like this, and thank you for watching.